Hey guys, Cockerpunk here. Thought I'd make a video about side feed guns. Now, I hate side feed guns. It might come as a surprise to you guys because I also have a conflicting love of old guns. I don't like side feed guns for a couple of reasons. Number one, I hate elbows. They're fragile, they break. Even an aluminum elbow, then you're putting your loader into this aluminum contraption to clamp it to death. There isn't a really good solution to this elbow problem. Another thing is the weight. It tends to debalance your gun off to one side, which I very much dislike. And then the third one is kind of target profile. Depending on how far your loader is sticking out either side, it can kind of get interesting. So, thought I'd make a tip for those of us who like old guns but don't like side feed guns, because there's lots of old guns that only come in side feed, such as my Automag RT Classic here that you guys have seen on the old school guns tour. Did a couple of things to it, pulled off the sight rail, and I also pulled off the mounting bracket for the foregrip and bolted it directly onto the rail. So it's a little bit tighter, a little bit lighter. Still a great shooting gun, obviously, and at this time it is my only side feed gun. It's power feed, obviously, you can see, instead of like a right feed or a left feed like on a shocker, shoebox shocker, obviously, cockers and the like. So what I've done here is the first thing that I think anybody should do if they have a side feed gun is to make sure that there is only as much poking out off the side feed, here I'll give you a white background, as the elbow can clamp onto. There's no purpose for this tube to be any longer and you to have the elbow out any farther. It moves your loader up higher, and it also moves your loader out more sideways, so you're increasing your target profile in 2 dimensions, and your weight is going to be pulling funny on the rest of the gun. So what I've done here, let me take this elbow off here. What I've done on this gun is sawed it off with a hacksaw, just long enough so that the socket on the elbow fits perfectly. Then what you're going to want to do, you don't want to just put your gun in here and hacksaw it. You want to make sure you take your whole gun apart, down to the body, clamp it in the vise really nicely with maybe a towel in there to make sure you don't scratch the body. Saw it off with a hacksaw, then deburr it with a file, make sure it's smooth, and then you want to make sure to clean out all of the metal chips that you made. So that's the first thing I did is saw off the power feed tube, or you can do this on right feed guns obviously too. In fact, it's usually easier because they're usually aluminum instead of steel. So first I cut this off as short as possible, and then the other thing is I always use these VL bows. Whenever I find a store that stocks these VL bows, I always buy them out, because they are, in my experience, one of the toughest elbows. The other thing is they're also really nice because they come with a spacer here to fit really narrow power feeds, plus they also fit the larger side feed, things like Sheridan guns. So they fit everything and they're strong. Another big reason why I like these is because, let me stick this on here. Come on. Oops. Another reason I like these is because they do not add any extra side movement. Obviously this corner is as sharp as it pretty much can be. So that means that when I'm got my loader on here, even a big old loader like a Prophecy, you can see that it's relatively close to the center line of the gun. And it's also relatively low compared to anything that would raise that up. So when I'm shooting my gun here, it's reasonably close to the center line, and the weight isn't all off, and it's also low enough that I actually have to look underneath the loader, which is just good form, obviously, to keep the loader as low down as you can. The other thing you can do about these side feed guns, if they are nice and tight like this, if they're as tight as you can make them, is you can heel them over just a little bit. Just a little bit. That won't affect the feed geometry. You'll still feed just fine if you heel them over just a little bit. And they will also be more, or they'll have a better target profile if you heel them over just a little bit. So whereas that's considered bad form with a vertical feed gun to be kind of sticking your loader out like this. Well, we're not talking about doing like this. We're talking about doing like this. You know, just a slight angle will fix your target profile problem. So, you know, I've been shooting side feed guns since my first autococker back in about 2002, and I've hated them ever since I bought my first one. But at the same time, there's lots of guns like these old Automags, Shockers, Sterlings, all sorts of guns that only come in side feed, or the vert feed ones were really, really rare. But if you stick with using a nice, tough, small elbow here, and you make sure your feed port on your gun is as tight to the body as you can overcome most of the problems that show up when you use a side feed. So hopefully that'll help some of us, some of you aspiring old guns collectors, to use the cool guns you own. Alright, talk to you later.